Hey everybody, Dr. D here. Thanks for watching. If you're here, you're hopefully enjoying the previous two videos. If you're new, don't feel bad. You don't need to watch the other two to understand what's going on. These are intended to be standalone. But we are going to continue on today with study tip number 3. And as per usual, you should be examining this critically and determining what works specifically for you. Remember, this is not a 5-step method. This is not panacea, right? This is not a cure-all for everything. This is just a series of tips and tricks, I guess, that have helped me in my career as a student and in academia. Okay. So tip number 3, when to study. Right, so last time we talked about what we should be studying, right? And just to recap, we should be studying the things that we're not comfortable with, right? Trying to turn those weaknesses into strengths. But when, right? The question came up, what is the general timeline for studying, Dr. D? And the general timeline, right, let me ask you this, right? When do you start studying now? Are you a day before person? 2 days? The week of? Maybe the weekend before? Right? Well, I've got a bunch of exams on the same day, right? Everybody runs into that, right? The end of the semester comes around, everybody's got finals on the last day, right? And so how are you supposed to study when you have multiple exams on the same day? Well, it kind of goes back to the what to study, right? Well, you know what you need to spend the most time on. Now, my general rule of thumb would be, and this is very general, study at least in earnest a week before your exam. Right? You should start hopefully a week before the exam at minimum. Now that's great and all, but ideally you should start really studying a week before you think you need to start studying for the exam. It's human nature, I have found, to procrastinate studying. Studying is not fun, right? There are probably a million things that you would rather be doing right now than studying, including watching a YouTube video about how to study. So when, right? And if you want to go by that rule, right, generally a week before you think you need to, right? So if you're studying a minimum of 2 weeks before the exam, that's typically helpful. But let me pose this. Let me pose this to you. What if instead of all of those hours you spend cramming knowledge into your brain that you don't retain because you are studying to do well on an exam. You're not studying to understand the material. So what if you, instead of studying for, let's say, 12 hours consecutively before the exam, staying up all night and getting your sleep cycle all ruined, what if every night from the beginning of the semester to the end, you spent a little bit of time studying the things and making sure you understood the things from the classes that you took that day. And then you spent the next day going to office hours to ask questions about the things that you didn't understand from the previous day's lecture. What if you did that? I'm talking about, maybe 20 minutes a night per class that you had. So we're talking about an hour, 2 hours, maybe, if you're taking a ton of classes. If you're taking 3 classes in a single day, that is an hour of study time total per night, right? So that puts you at 5 hours of studying per week plus homework time. I mean, that's pretty legit, right? What if you did that? What if you studied a little bit every night instead of a lot in a single night? And you made sure to turn your weaknesses into strengths as we were rolling through the semester. What if you did that? It would have great success, I think. Now, you guys can tell me what you think in the comments, and surely not everybody is going to agree with me. The internet is a great place to find people that do not have like opinions to yours, and that's fine. If you don't agree with me, that's cool. You tell me what you do, what you found successful, right? I want to know. But I would say that studying a little bit over time trumps studying all at once in a single night, or what we call cramming. Right? Now, the downside of cramming is that you don't really understand the material. You're just prepared for the exam for that day, right? So let me use this example, right? If you're studying to do a specific math problem, right, and you've studied and you know how to do that problem, the problem with cramming is because you didn't spend time to understand the underlying concepts, if that problem changes even slightly, you are going to feel like that exam was unfair. You're going to feel like you don't know what's going on. And I get that, and you want to minimize that feeling, right? Because there's nothing worse than sitting in an exam and looking at the material and feeling that gut drop and your chest tighten, right? Because you don't understand the questions. And I've been there, and it's scary, and the test anxiety is real, right? But if you prepare early enough, you mitigate that. The other thing that I want to talk about with this is students will often ask me, Dr. D, do you have any other resources to help me study? And the truth of it is that there are YouTube videos out there, right? You have a textbook. There's other textbooks that are out there as well. And you certainly could go and seek those out. The problem with YouTube videos is that they often do not stop to explain the finer details. But there is one resource that all professors offer you that I have noticed often goes unused. And that is our time. I have 15 hours of office hours a week. I sit in a majority of them alone, waiting for students to come in. Take advantage of office hours, right? Study and come to office hours. If you study early, if you study a little bit every day and you come to office hours every other day, right? Because you study one night, you come to office hours the next day, right? Then we have class again the following day, and then you study and then you come to office hours, right? And you start this cycle of studying and coming into office hours. You're doing this thing where you are continuously gaining knowledge as you go, and I guarantee you, this is an actual guarantee, I guarantee you that you will see success in harder classes if you employ this method. Don't be concerned about monopolizing office hours. I've had students who have said, Dr. D, I don't want to monopolize your time. There's other students who need help as well. And to this I say, no, be selfish with your education. It is nice that you are concerned about your peers. It is. But I guarantee you that if you come to office hours, there are probably going to be other people there. And if there's other people there, they probably have the similar questions to you, right? And you guys can all talk about it together, and we can have a nice open discussion about where your pitfalls are, right? And that's great, and it's collaborative, and it's awesome when it happens. But you guys need to put in the time if you want to be successful. Okay, so bottom line, right? Bottom line, study early, study often, come to office hours. Right? You do those three things, and you start in a cycle of studying daily, and you're gonna see improvements, right? You're gonna see improvements. Okay. Until next time.